When you have real reviews on your website, it builds trust and make visitors feel more confident about your business. And the best part, you don't have to do this manually. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can automatically pull Google reviews and display them live on your WordPress site. Clean, dynamic, and always up to date. So let's get started. Okay, so before we start building, we need to make sure we have the right plugins installed and activated. So we're going to be needing JetEngine plugin, very crucial, and you can have a page builder of your choice. You can ignore any other plugin that has been activated here. What you need is JetEngine and a page builder. You can use Bricks Gutenberg as a page builder, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to be sticking with Elementor. So once you have all of these plugins ready, you need to head over to this JetEngine module page. Click on this, and here you need to make sure the REST API listing module is toggled on. Once this is toggled on, you save, and once you save, you should have this option enabled for you. Then next, you have to click on this, then head over here and add new endpoint. The first thing you have to do is give it a label. It could be anything you can use to identify this endpoint, but I'm just gonna call this reviews from Google, but it can be anything really, doesn't really matter. But what really matters here is the API endpoint URL. This is very crucial. We need this URL so we can send a request to Google API saying, hey, we need to fetch the reviews on your own end so we can display it on our website. So that URL makes it possible for us to be able to see the data that is being fetched from Google. All right, now the big question, how do we know what this URL is? Well, I'm gonna paste a link to the documentation from Google Places API so you can find the endpoint URL they're gonna use. But I'm also gonna make it very easy for you by pasting the URL format in the description so you can simply copy from there and paste it right here. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up this, copy, and paste it right here. But wait, we are not actually done with the URL yet because, well, it's not going to fetch anything from Google because we don't have real values here. Instead, we have placeholders, and you can spot them right here. One is the place ID, and the second placeholder here is the API key. So we need to replace these fields with an actual value. So where do we find the place ID and the API key? Well, I'm going to show you in a bit. But first, let's find the place ID. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is go to Google and just search for place ID finder, and you should find this tool that you can use to find your business and fetch the place ID. Bear in mind, you can find any business here as long as it's a Google My Business profile. So let's assume you want to find the place ID of Starbucks. Assuming I own Starbucks and I want to find the place ID, all I have to do is search for Starbucks, and I should be able to find different locations from Starbucks. So I'm just going to go with one, probably this one. Click on this, and here we go. We have the place ID displayed for us. So we copy it and we return to the REST API endpoint, and we have to replace this place ID placeholder here with the actual value, that is the actual place ID. So we paste it right here. Okay, so the place ID is out of the way. We already have the real value in there. What's left? We need to replace the API key placeholder with an actual value. So how do we find the API key? So here is the major part. We have to head over to Google Cloud Console. I'm going to paste the link to this console. So if you're opening the console for the first time, you should have a screen like this. If not, you should find somewhere on the screen where you have to select a project. So you come here, select a project. If you already have a project, you can simply use that. If not, you can come here and add new project. Click on this. I'm gonna call this my project. So you can call it whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I'm gonna name this my project. Create. It's gonna take a couple of seconds to create this. Okay, then select project. Okay, you can see this here means I'm already working under this project, right? My project. So now you have to search for a product, and this product is called Places API. So you search for Places API, and we have two APIs here. Which are we going to select? Now I recommend we go with this one because it has access to more than 200 million places, whereas the legacy Places API only have access to 100 million places. So it's obviously better we go with this one, the Places API new, right? Okay, let's go. Okay, so when we click on this, we should have access to this page where we enable the API. All we have to do is click on enable, and for some we need to enable billing. Now bear in mind that if you're a small business and you're not going to be making so much API requests in a month, maybe less than 1,000 requests in a month, you won't pay anything, but you still need to enable billing, that is, enter your card details just in case. Okay, so when you're done setting up your billing account, you should be able to come back here on this page and enable this API, and it should be enabled. Now once you click the enable button, you should be directed to a page where you find the API key, and you can copy and go back to the REST API module on JetEngine and paste right there. Okay, so here's our API key. You copy. Okay, so if you don't find it here on the screen, you should be able to find it somewhere on this page and be able to copy it into your website. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this key right here, go back to JetEngine, and I'm gonna replace the API key placeholder with the actual value here. Paste. Yeah, we're good to go. Now that this is done, we need to come here to items path, and we need to add a path. What is the path? Remember, we want to fetch the reviews, so we're gonna add /reviews. Okay, we don't need to enable any authorization here, and the status is not connected. We can send request now, and it should be able to be. Okay, so it's also very important to enable cache here, so that we do not go above the API request limit. Remember, we have 1,000 API request limit, so we do not want to go above that. So want to cache this for, let's say, a day. Yeah, a day is cool. You can adjust this according to your needs. So we're done setting up the REST API endpoints, so we can save and let's test to see that this works fine. So we're going to come over to the query builder here and set a query based on this REST API endpoints. So we're going to click query builder here, add a new query. We can give it a name, right? It can be reviews from Google or something. We can have Starbucks here. Right, we have to toggle this on so we can see that it returns the data correctly. Toggle this on. Okay, the query type, of course, is not a post query. Instead, it's a REST API query. So we have to select REST API query here. What is that query? You have to come down here and select the endpoint we created. You remember the endpoint we created? It's called reviews from Google. So we click on this, and then we should have the result. Okay, so you can see the result. You can see the values, the name, the rating, the text, right? We can see the text here. We can also see the display name. That is the person who made this review. We can see the photo URI. That is the photo URI of that person who made this review, so we can display the person's photo as well. What else do we have? Okay, I see we also have the rating up here. So this is a 5/5 rating, so we can use this as a star rating on the site. So remember, all we need to fetch is the rating, the actual text here, which is the review, and lastly, we need to fetch the display name. We also need to fetch the photo URI. Okay, so now that we have all the values, we need to come over here, toggle this off, add query, and then toggle this back on, because we may need to manually copy this and paste it in Elementor when we're creating our listing. Okay, so now let's head over to create our listing. Come here to JetEngine, listings, and here we add a new listing item. The listing source is going to be from, of course, query builder. Then we're going to select the query which we just created, which is the reviews from Google, which we just created, right? Then we're going to set a name, could be anything. We can just say Google reviews listing. Okay. All right. Then the listing view. Remember, if you're using Bricks, Elementor, or Gutenberg, you're going to find the options here. But I'm just going to stick with Elementor still. Then create listing item. Okay, first I'm going to take this off. To begin with, I do not care so much about how the design looks. I only care about the functionality, and I guess that's what you're here for. Okay, so let's begin by inserting the dynamic fields. So let's start with the content. Okay, just gonna drag. No, I'm gonna drag this instead. Okay, so to fetch the actual review, I'm gonna click dynamic tags, scroll down to where you have REST API field, click on it, and you're also gonna click on this field here. Now, when you come here, you realize you don't find all the fields you need. Well, that is because some of these fields contains multiple fields in them. They're simply called an array. So how do you fetch them? Well, you remember we want to fetch the actual review. So what is it called? Let's go back to a query builder. And here, as you can see, we have different fields. Rating equals to 5. Simple, straightforward. But here we have text equals to this, and this has different things nested in it. So definitely if we come here and select text, it's not going to give us anything because it says that it's an array. So what do we have to do? We have to come back here and select the particular field that is nested under this main field, and that is text. Okay, so we have to come back here, then toggle this on and write in the child item name, which in this case is text. Okay, so now we can see the actual review printed here, which is exactly what we want, right? Okay, cool. Now let's drag in another field, and this one will be the author name. So we're gonna come here, drag in this, and remember, we click on dynamic tags, we scroll all the way down to REST API field, and the field here will be, well, we can find the author name here. So it must be nested in one of these main fields. So let's go back to a query builder. Let's see, where is the author name found? Okay, you can see the author name is found here. It's called display name, and it's nested under the author attribution. So all we have to do here is come here and we have to click on the field author attribution. Of course, it's not going to display anything until we toggle this on and then paste in the actual field that contains the name of the author. So we click on copy and we paste it right here, and then we should have the real value displayed here. Okay, all right, so let me just adjust the styling a bit. I said I wasn't gonna do anything, but it's beginning to look weird. Okay, so we have two fields now. We have the review, the author name, and let's give it the rating. Okay, so let's fetch the rating widget. Rating, drag it in here, and the rating scale here should be whatever rating we have dynamically over 5. Okay, so what rating do we have? Now we have to fetch the rating from the dynamic tags. We click on this, scroll the way down to REST API field, and the field should be straightforward here, rating. Here we don't need to select any child item because this is a straightforward field leading directly to the value. So we click on this and we should have the right value here. Well, we see 5 because the value is 5. Let's double check that. So we come here, go to rating. Okay, yeah, 5/5. Just to confirm this, let's increase the rating scale to 6 and see if it's actually okay. So it works fine. All right, so we've successfully fetched the review, the author name, and the star rating. All right, so let me just do a little bit of styling here, just so it doesn't look too awkward. Maybe give it some gap. Let's just say 1 REM. Okay. Gonna reduce, give it some padding. Normally I would use clamp, but just for the sake of this, just still gonna use REM. Let's say 1. Give it a border radius of 25 pixel and a background of, let's say, this color. Okay, not too bad though. Lastly, let's add the author image, and we're gonna do a little bit of trick here because the author image isn't stored as an ID but as a URI. So instead of the normal image widgets, we're gonna use the dynamic field widgets. So let's grab the dynamic field widgets, paste it in here, and the source is going to be from the object data. The object field is going to be way down where we have the REST API fields here, and again we can't find the author URI here, but let's check the query builder to see where it's nested in. Okay, so display name, URI, photo URI. Okay, that's cool. This is exactly what we need, but we can find the option there. But we can see it's nested under this one. So it's a child element. So all we have to do is select this and then copy this because we need to paste it in there somewhere here. Okay, so let's select this, the author attribution. And instead of inserting the child element here, we're going to come down to where we have filter field outbuilt, toggle this on, select a callback, and the callback here will be child elements. So we're going to search for child elements. You can simply search for this. Okay, get child element from object array. So we click on this, and here is where we insert the item name. So we paste this right here. We have the author URI, but that is not what we want to display, is it? No, we want to display the actual image, not this string of URI. So what we're going to do is customize the field attribute. Toggle this on. Then before this, we need to add an image HTML tag. Okay, so you know the image tag, right? img, then give it a space. I want to add the source of this image. And of course, the source of this image is that URI. So we type the src, then equals to, then quotation mark. Then at the back of this, gonna add the quotation mark. And then voila, the image pops up. But we have to add the width and the height. So we're just gonna give it width equals to 35, and the height is gonna be 35 as well. Then we have to close this HTML tag. Okay, so now we have the author image here. This isn't looking very good, so I'm just gonna put this in a container, drag in a container here. Gonna make this a row direction, dragging this and dragging this. Okay, so now I'm just gonna make this align well, give it a gap of at least 1 REM. Okay, like I said, we don't have to do too much design wise, just something decent. Okay, so we have this already done, just a little bit of tweak here, just gonna change this to text. Okay, didn't work. I'm gonna change this to, let's say, 0.8 rem or 7.5. Okay, I'm beginning to care too much about the style, so I'm just gonna publish this before I spend about 5 hours trying to do this. Okay, so this is published. So in order for us to display this, we have to go to that page where we need to display the reviews. In my case, it's the home page. So I'm just gonna remove all of this and go over to my home page. So here is my home page over here, and I'm gonna edit with Elementor. Okay, like I said previously, you can use any page builder of your choice, but here I'm just gonna add the listing here. Search for listing, then drag it in here, and I'm gonna select the listing, which is review. Yeah, Google review listing, and there you go. You have the reviews from Google fetched dynamically. Okay, so I'm gonna reduce this to at least 2 just to give it a nice style, and maybe give it equal height. All right, just so it doesn't look too awkward. Or better still, I just give it a 1 column, and perhaps give this a maximum width. I think this is good. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna center the entire thing, give it top and bottom padding. Okay, and publish. There you go. That's everything. So you can come here to the home page, and you can see your reviews displayed here automatically. Okay, if you found this video helpful, don't just click away. Hit that like button and let me know in the comments what feature you want me to break down next. I read every comment, and your feedback helps me create even better tutorials for you. And if you love smart WordPress tricks or tips and tools that make your workflow easier, then make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. We're just getting started, and you definitely don't want to miss what's coming next. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.